Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about the results from UFC Fight Night last night. Josh Emmett, Lerone Murphy was in the main event, but we're going to talk about the full fight card. You guys know the deal. We do a results show after every single UFC fight card because we need to have updated and fresh notes on every single fighter. That's what this is about. So I'm going to go back and talk about how they performed, what we saw, and what we know moving forward. I'm not really going to stress the bets all that much, although sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it doesn't. But we'll talk about it as we go on. All right. So with that being said, Vanessa Demopoulos versus Talita Alencar. If you saw the fight, let me rephrase that. If you saw the early video, I told you this is a very low-level fight. First and foremost, it's women. Women are very unreliable, and I'm talking about from a gambling perspective. And this is exactly what happened. We go out there, and Talita Alencar, somebody who we've seen get pieced up, absolutely dominated on the feet. Nothing of the sort ever happened. Vanessa Demopoulos is aggressive. The announcers talk about her very favorably because they've trained with her or they've rolled with her or grappled with her. Some guys think she's pretty. They talk about how flexible she is. But what she isn't is she isn't a fighter at all. Not one that can be trusted. She's flat on her back, which is terrible. She couldn't get up, which is terrible. Landing 34 strikes in 15 minutes is embarrassing. If you aren't aware, that's about 2 strikes a minute. That's disgusting work. You got control for 12 of the 15 minutes. What are we doing? What the hell are we doing? And if you see it there, Talita Alencar has 12 minutes control time on 4 takedowns. 4. That means if she takes you down, you're never getting up again, which is insane because we've watched this girl fight multiple times and we've never seen that kind of dominance. Now, moving forward, Talita Alencar is still a terrible striker. She's still the world's worst. But I think what we need to do, and what I need to do, is I need to assess her opponent's takedown defense. And if she gets paired up with another fighter who has a low percentage in takedown defense, who's very susceptible to takedowns, she's going to win. She don't need to strike. She don't need to score points. She's going to win. And this entire fight card was a lot of crotch sniffing going on. This was real crotch sniffing, bro. She had Vanessa Demopoulos folded up perfectly just to eat it all. It looked like she was there for an all-you-can-eat pie buffet of some sort. So shout out to these two girls. Went out there, rolled around with each other for 15 minutes. If you needed to get one out, I hope you got it out during the prelim and you enjoyed it. But this wasn't a fight. This wasn't a fight, bro. The 107 total strikes, I don't even notice them. I didn't notice them. So at the end of the day, low fight IQ by Vanessa Demopoulos, very low fight IQ, and even lower fight ability. And then Talita Alencar, well, she can get a takedown and be pretty heavy on top. But for being a world-class jiu-jitsu specialist or practitioner, you didn't finish the fight. You're winning rounds. Look at the scorecard, 30-26. You were so dominant, but you didn't finish the fight. You're some jiu-jitsu master. It's trash. This is a terrible fight. This is a terrible fight. Don't ever bet on these chicks. Keep your money, dude. Seriously, tip a Hooters waitress. And that shit's going out of business. Next fight, Martin Buday versus Uran Saltiabali-Yadiv. This is Martin Buday, a 300-pound man who cuts down to 265 with big chesticles against Uran, who's a 205 fighter. Remember, he is a champion from another fight league, if you will, fight company out there, and he took this fight on short notice, 48 hours notice. He's a regular 205 guy. He got up to 222 if he could, and man, he went out there and gave it his best effort. But once again, UFC heavyweights are very durable if they're going to fight somebody who's not a heavyweight. You're not going to knock them out. You're just not. They're bigger, they're stronger, more durable, and it's going to make it for a long night. I can tell you guys true experience. I once punched the guy as hard as I could, and I know it landed flush, and he was still standing there in front of me. I couldn't believe it. He's still standing there in front of me. And it's one of those situations where you'll be in training, you'll be at practice, you'll be in your gym training with guys, and you're dropping people and you're having a good time and you feel dominant, right? And then you go against somebody outside of your gym. You go against somebody in a cage or in another competition somewhere, and you're like, oh, no, I'm here with the meat eaters. Yeah, I'm here with the meat eaters. I know that I have huge hands, and I know that when I go to shake someone's hand, I know I engulf their hand. But when I meet somebody with an equivalent hand size and I shake their hand, you know what I do when I shake somebody's hand and it's like as big as mine? I actually feel like it engulfs mine. And I indirectly, innately, subconsciously, I go, oh shit, I'm around somebody equivalent to, like, I got to be on my P's and Q's. It's like one of those DNA things. It's like nature. You're like, whoa, there's somebody in my AO, like there's somebody in my area of operation that is equivalent to me right now. And it's just a handshake. That's why, like, before wrestling matches, you go shake the other guy's hand. Yeah, we used to pull on it and try to be tough. So I got to imagine Lerone over here is the toughest dude wherever he comes from. And he's a beast of a man. But when you get in that cage against Martin Buday, it's another story because that's a huge, huge man. Now, Buday has some limitations. We can't forget this. He is a grappler by trade. He's not a real striker. And against another heavyweight, he won't be able to do what he did here, which is bully his way to the cage, to the clinch, got 0 takedowns. The dude, as big as you are, you can't get a takedown on a guy you weigh 60 pounds more than. They said he weighed in 280 day of the fight and still couldn't just get a takedown. 60 pounds, you can't get a takedown. And Lerone, for being just a gangster, just said, yo, I'm going to show up. Now, I don't know if he has a UFC contract. I don't know if we'll ever see him again. But if you guys are ever betting on LFA or PFL or any of those other fight series and you see Lerone in one of those fight leagues, just know that's a dog right there. He shows them on Dana White Contender Series. No, that's a dog right there. So just remember that the next time you see him. He is tough as nails. He usually fights at 205. That little guy, he's not a little guy. He's 6'4", 240 for the night of the fight, I'm sure. But 6'4", 220. That man, I thought he fought hard. But it went exactly like I told you it would. My prediction was Buday, and that was correct. Just because he's fat, just because he's got that going for him. Victor Henry versus Pedro Falco. Oh boy. Victor Henry wins the fight. Was Victor Henry a minus 210 favorite? He shouldn't have been. Falco puts up a fight. Falco went out there to bang. Falco has limitations. His left hand was great. His left hook was great. Fight IQ, not all there. His ability to maintain top control, irrelevant. Like, just not good. He is relentless. He is trying. But Victor Henry, I hate him. I really don't like him. I told you, I don't like a man with a guy with a man bun. I don't like a guy with this, that, or that. Dude, is he a dynamic striker? He moves really well. He gets his head off center line. He circles away. And we're going to watch some other guys who don't do that. But I thought Victor Henry fought well against a dog, like against somebody who's out there to grind on you. And there was times when Victor Henry didn't have it. It wasn't all good. It wasn't all peaches and cream, you know, and he still found it within him to dig deep and find a way. Now, very unlikable for me. But if Vegas likes him at those odds, we got to see who he gets paired up with next. I think you're always going to have a value bet to fade him, but you got to be careful, man. Victor Henry, he fights hard. He doesn't want to lose, so more power to him. Pedro Falco, there's limitations to what he can do. They tell me he's a grappler, but he had no top control, couldn't maintain the position, couldn't finish any chokes, couldn't get it done. And when you need him to, it's like he's not good at anything. He's good. He's okay at things, but he's not good at anything. And I'm talking about, like, he's an okay striker. He's an adequate striker. Not good. And then he's okay at grappling, but he's not good. It's like sometimes you get these employees. I used to have a soldier like this where you would be like, hey, man, go do this, go do that. And you just knew you had to go double check it because he just sucked. He wasn't reliable. Couldn't get it done. I'm serious. It's not. It's like if somebody's washing dishes and you don't trust them, so you grab one of the cups after they're done washing it and you still got to inspect it and look inside. You're like, oh, this guy was washing dishes, but I don't know if I trust it. That's how Falco is as a fighter. He gets in the cage. You'll be like, yeah, he's going to get a takedown. And then he gets the takedown. And you're like, wait, hold on. Did he really get the takedown? Are we still there? Or why are we standing again? I thought he had a takedown. It's that kind of shit. So, yeah, 4 takedowns, 3 minutes of control time. That's less than a minute every takedown. That's crazy, bro. I mean, you ain't got no top game. That's gross. Shout out to some of them girls who never became Mrs. Rico. No top game. But yeah, shout out to Victor Henry. It is what it is. Another fight here. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Loma Lookboonmee is a minus 1,150 favorite before the fight, pre-fight odds. Minus 1,000, minus 900, minus 800. And I told you guys, I just don't agree with this mindset that somebody's a minus 1,000 favorite if we're going to go to the judges' scorecards. Because she's a decision merchant. She's little. She throws hard or whatever. I don't know what she's doing. She's out here trying to prove that she's a good grappler now. She can get takedowns. So she starts trying to get takedowns and getting grappling exchanges, and she's not very experienced on the ground. She does everything wrong on the ground, but she can get a takedown. So she wants to go out there and prove it. I do it in the gym. I can do it here in the cage. I did it in practice. I can do it in the cage. Woman, you are a Muay Thai striker. Do your job. Go out there, strike, and start knocking some heads off and start winning with head kicks or something. Like, you're a Muay Thai striker. Do your practice. And she won't. She got a takedown 2 fights ago, and she kept doing it in this fight. You had the edge on your feet. You had the speed advantage. And now you're trying to show. And then after the fight, she does an interview, and what does she say? I just wanted to prove to you guys I'm getting better as a fighter. I'm all around. I want to show all my tools and all. But we don't want to see all your tools. Use your takedown defense when it matters. Use your takedowns when it's needed. Did you see Lerone Murphy in the main event? That's a dynamic athlete and fighter. Guess what he did? Elite footwork, movement, changing levels, angles. It don't matter we're in a small octagon. You're not getting me like that. And he's great. And even when he got on bottom, he was up top. He got up, got his escape, got his reversal, he's up. Man, Luma Luke Boon Me being a minus 1,000 favorite was the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. Estella Nunes is a Muay Thai striker. She's going to punch back and kick. And she was fine. Now, she didn't win the fight. But this was no 30-27. It was a 29-28. And I don't like going to judges for a 29-28 when you're a minus 1,100. That's stupid. Now, on the fight card, on the betting card, I told you guys take Luke Boon Me by points. It was a minus 165. You would have still had to parlay it with things. And I think MVPs did parlay it with things. But I still just don't feel comfortable with it, even though this girl landed twice as many strikes. If we're going to judges, you can't be a minus 1,000. You can't. The human error is insane. Who the fuck is Tony Weeks, man? Who is Tony Weeks? Human error is crazy. Shout out to Luma Luke Boon Me. Somebody asked me last night, hey, Rico, do you study the judges to find out, take them into consideration? And I said, no, I don't take them into consideration. What I do take into consideration is whether or not the fight will go to the judges. That's very important to understand the difference here. I don't try to guess what these judges. Sal D'Amato is the hardest judge to ever assess in my life. And then you have Lieben just started. I noticed that yesterday. Chris Lieben, former UFC fighter, dude with the red head. He used to have his hair dyed red and blonde and all kinds of shit. But yeah, I don't trust judges. If we're going to the judges, you shouldn't trust them either. But Luma Luke Boon Me, dynamic striker, crisp, looks good. 0 fight IQ. Zero fight IQ. And Estella Nunes, well, it is what it is. She just can't find a way to win in the UFC. She's now 6-6. I don't think they're going to keep her around. This is after a two-year layoff. Just not good enough. Not a good enough fighter to win, and that's a shame. Speaking of not a good enough fighter to win, Daniel Frunza. I was on Daniel Frunza in this fight. I thought he'd be tougher. I thought he could strike. And I talked about Reese McKee. I've seen him fight in the UFC, and he's not of the elite caliber of the other fighters. But he's a dog. He's tough enough. He's good enough. And he went out there, and this was a coin flip. You got to figure it out. And I didn't. Now, the fight got stopped because of a busted lip. That was a pretty bad busted lip, man. It looked like his tooth went through his lip. It was pretty bad. I saw a picture of it after the fact, and it is what it is. Shout out to Daniel Frunza getting absolutely rocked to start this fight. And I think he still won the first round. Now, I might be biased, but the strikes were near even. He got knocked down 3 times. He did win the first round. He got knocked down 3 times. Strikes were even. But he had this dog in him to not quit. And he was ready to go. Now, the doctors didn't let it go. Reese McKee has to show me more for me to believe him. Like, he won this fight. And he put that work on Daniel Frunza. He did. But if you knock a guy down 3 times, we should not be getting to the bell. If a man is bleeding everywhere, he's got a tooth going through his lip, he's got that eye was ready to fall over, swollen, you cannot let him get to the next round. I got to see you just stamp it. And Reese McKee hasn't stamped it. Now, he's probably going to get a favorable matchup. Remember, they gave him 4 absolute monsters when he first joined the UFC in 2 different stints. They gave him 4 monsters. And then he goes back on they gave him 2 first. Loses both. Goes to the regional scene. Knocks out everybody. Comes back. He loses again to other good fighters. And now this is the first time he's ever won in the UFC. Just know that if he's fighting a regional caliber fighter, Reese McKee is going to beat the shit out of that dude. I think he's a really good fighter. I think he's a good regional fighter. Like, he's better than the regional dudes. So if you get a guy making his debut, you get a guy who hasn't fought but one time on the road to UFC or the Contender Series, like that kind of stuff, this guy is going to put the brakes on you. He's going to hurt you. I hope they give him that Ho Chang Lee dude or something. I don't know if they're in the same weight class. I think they might be 10 pounds off. But you know what I'm saying? It's McKee, dude. He's better than the scrubs walking around. I just want him to stamp it. The easiest bet of the night, you should have bet your whole life on it. I think Barbosa by sub was a plus 110. Obviously, she's a minus 1,000 favorite here. Belvita cheese. Diana Belvita fighting Diana Barbosa. I told you Belvita, she's a striker. She's never been knocked out. That's cool. She keeps her chin tucked. She's pretty. All you guys like her. She's not a real fighter, man. She's just a pretty girl that the UFC wants to market. And they know she sells tickets and seats and maybe some merch. I don't know. Somebody wants to buy one of her autographed posters in a bikini, something like that. But this is not a real MMA prospect. This is not a real fighter. She's just got no muscle. And if you have no muscle in the female division, you're just an older caliber of fighter, like the older females that were all kind of feminine and beautiful and visually appealing, all those fighters. Yeah, you know, the Misha Tates of the world, whatever. And then you get to Barbosa. Barbosa's got shoulders like me. Barbosa looks like a grown man. Nothing about that is feminine. That is a grown man's shoulders. Traps. She's got a problem. Now, she's still not a great striker. She was getting pieced up on her feet. And I was getting nervous. I was like, what are we doing on our feet? Why are we doing this? And she took a solid 2 minutes before she went and got the takedown. But once she got the takedown, it might have even been 3 minutes. Once she got the takedown, it was hot knife through butter. Belvita has 0 grappling. I've watched her absolutely. Now, I've seen her twice now. Once she hit the mat, she does nothing right. Nothing. It's over so fast, she doesn't even know what the hell she's doing. It's crazy. Fundamentally, I don't know how you go into a gym and you don't sit there and just go, all right, listen, we're gonna work on defense against chokes from the mount, from side control, from rear mount. Like, why don't we just drill this shit for 2 hours every single day like it's our job? Instead of going in there and punching a heavy bag and mitts. Why the fuck do you keep showing me highlights of you punching a heavy bag and mitts? We know you did that before. Don't you want to get better? You know, I used to talk to soldiers about this all the time. I was teaching cyber. I was a cyber expert for the NSA. And I grabbed an entire book on cybersecurity. And I went through it. And I remember I went to the first chapter. And it was like networking or something like that. And I said, show of hands, who knows anything about networking here, right? And they all rose their hands, and they all started telling me about all these different protocols and these different things. And I went into the book, and I just ripped out those pages. Ripped them out. And I said, and then I went to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And you just keep going to different pages and different things, right? And I remember I got to this one section. And right now, the name of the section escapes me, but the soldiers, it was called prefetch files. If you don't know what prefetch files are, Google it. But anyways, I asked what are prefetch files and super prefetch, and nobody in the room spoke up. All these cyber experts, and nobody knew what prefetches were and how they work. And I left the pages in the book. And when it was done, the book was gnarly. It was missing all these sections. And I said, okay, this is what all you guys need to do to your textbooks. Rip out the pages from the sections you already know, because you don't need to read them anymore. And you only need to address the shit you don't know. I need you to study all this that you don't know. Address your shortcomings. And there was a kid, he had a stack of like 3x5 cards, flashcards. He was preparing for some exam or some certification exam. And he was going through it, and then this guy was like, what are the seven layers of the OSI model, blah, blah, blah. And he's just spouting it off. And I grabbed that 3x5 card. He got it all right. I grabbed it, and I just ripped it up. And I threw it away. And he said, what are you doing? I said, you listen to me right now. If you come across a question in your stack of flashcards that you don't even have to think about it, you just know the answer no matter what, it doesn't need to be in your stack of flashcards. You don't need to be working on that. You need to be working on what the fuck you don't know. This stack shouldn't be this big where you're laughing and joking and bragging about how much you know. There's a reason I study group of 5 football teams harder than the SEC teams. I already know them. Everybody knows them. There's a reason I study the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th round of the NFL draft, and I don't do first round mock drafts. Everybody knows the first round. I got to find the hidden gems. So when you're looking at fighting, if I can put this in perspective for you, if you know you're good at something, why the fuck are we doing it all the time? If you know you're a kickboxer, why do I got to see you doing tons of reps on a tie bag and a heavy bag and doing these bags and these mitts and this? I don't need to see all that. Every video I see of Sean Strickland walking around the cage doing a sparring session where he's just bullying a guy with some jabs and a cross, jab and a cross, jab and these fucking front T kicks. That's all you see from Sean Strickland videos. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. That's all you do all day. Well, why didn't he win the fight? Well, because you don't know how to get a takedown and tap somebody out. You don't know how to throw a fucking uppercut and a head kick. Why aren't we working on the stuff that we're terrible at? Why aren't we addressing what we don't know? And that shit's going to leave you unemployed. Belvita, this girl is never going to fight again. At least she shouldn't. Trash. And this girl over here, Diane Barbosa, as strong as you are, you need to be working on striking 24/7. You're a great grappler. By the way, I predicted the submission. It happened. But I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. And this is for every walk of life. This is for every person out there. If you go to the gym and you can bench press 300-something pounds and you squat 205, stop bench pressing, bro. Address your shortcomings. Or you're going to walk around looking like fucking Tasmanian devil. Speaking of the Tasmanian devil here, his real name is Torres Finney. Torres the Punisher Finney versus Robert Valentine. So this was a lock for us. We knew Torres Finney was winning the fight. He's an undefeated fighter. No doubt in our mind he's going to win this fight. And Robert Valentine is a crafty grappler, crafty jiu-jitsu guy, but it's not going to matter. Torres Finney's just going to go out there, pick him up like a fucking, I don't know, like a sack of potatoes, go lay him down by his corner, and then proceed to do absolutely nothing. Nothing. Torres Finney is the most boring fighter on the planet Earth, and the problem is he doesn't know when to inflict pain. And it's so noticeable when you watch other wrestlers who know when to throw an elbow, who know when to throw a punch. What this means is Torres Finney has been wrestling his entire life. And when you wrestle your entire life, you don't ever punch. You don't have a clue when to do it. That's like he's the equivalent of a jiu-jitsu nerd. Jiu-jitsu nerds do the same thing. They've been rolling in jiu-jitsu all day long, their whole lives. They go to jiu-jitsu tournaments, and they get accustomed to pulling guard. They get accustomed to, I need to get in here. I'm a gi, no gi, world champion, blah, 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 blah. No, dude, you play a sport. You play a sport. UFC is not one of these sports you can play. You can't show up and pull guard. Why? Because somebody can punch you. That's the difference. That's why Royce Gracie's not the greatest UFC fighter of all time. That's why the Gracies, anybody who says, oh, I train jiu-jitsu, that doesn't mean you're an MMA fighter. You don't have any ground and pound. You don't even have it ingrained in you when to inflict ground and pound. And Torres Finney is Exhibit A if you're looking for evidence of somebody who does not train MMA. Torres Finney does not train mixed martial arts. I don't know where he trains. I don't know his gym. I don't know what's going on, but they don't train mixed martial arts with Torres Finney. What they do is they lift a lot, they work on cardio, and they wrestle. And he's never hurt a soul in his life. And so much so, I would say that whoever Torres Finney fights, they can fight again in 3 months. Remember, when you fight in the UFC, if you have any injuries, eye injuries, head injuries, busted lip, any injuries, after every single fight in the UFC, the fight commission has to clear you to fight again. Most fighters, if you didn't know this might be news to you, most fighters get a suspension after every single fight. You get suspended by the commission. And they'll suspend you till you're cleared by doctors. Well, what does that mean? That just means you can't fight again until you go to the prescribed doctor, the doctor that they need, that gives you the go-ahead to go fight again. It's for concussion protocol. It's so you recover from an injury. But it could be something simple. Like if you get knocked out, you might get suspended for 6 months. And all that means is you can't fight again for 6 months. You just got to get the cobwebs cleaned out, whatever. So you got to go get cleared by a doctor. I think every single opponent Torres Finney fights is cleared to fight within 3 months because they're not hurt at all. They've got no damage. None. This guy doesn't do it. This guy is so bad, I think he needs to get cut. And he's undefeated. You need to cut him. If you cut, who was that? Makayev? The kid who was undefeated, and they cut him just because he was wrestling every single fight, and now he's in the PFL? If you cut him, what was his name? It's with an M and a V. You guys know who I'm talking about. The cocky kid. And Dana White cut him. Oh, we're not going to renegotiate contracts with him. He's boring. He's never landed a punch, all this stuff. What the fuck is Torres Finney doing, bro? Didn't swing at all that muscle, all that strength, and you're not swinging? Oh, it's embarrassing. And the most embarrassing part was the third round when he just literally just kept planting the top of his head into another man's penis, right? Just over and over and over. Tripod. I thought he was doing like a yoga challenge. That's what it looked like. They would separate him, and he would go right back to, oh, no, I'm here. There must have been a magnet on the top of his head and Valentine's crotch because it was just like, I'm stuck. I'm here. I'm teapotting. I don't know, tripoding, excuse me. No, it was gross. Torres Finney, man. What a brute. I don't know if Torres Finney's going to ever lose the first round. I just don't. Think his next opponents, UFC matchmakers might do him a real big favor. They might go out there and give him somebody who knows how to wrestle. They're going to give him somebody who can defensively wrestle, somebody who can get up from this bullshit. They're going to give him a real fighter to teach him a lesson, just whoop his ass. That's what they're going to do. He's going to go in there and get handled. Because the minute he can't get a takedown, what's he got for you? He's got nothing on his feet. There's no stand-up game from this guy. He's just a brute of a man who just holds you down and does nothing with it. I mean, nothing. It's crazy, bro. He hugs you aggressively. I've never seen some shit like this. I want him cut. I want him out of the UFC. And I know you MVPs out there who bet on him are like, yo, Rico, I made a lot of money. I bet on him. It was a minus 300 earlier in the week. It's 400 at fight time, but it was minus 300. I mean, it's guaranteed to win. He's not going to lose to some guy who can't outmuscle him. But my God, did he suck. Now, this is a prime example of why you don't make fighters who are going to the final bell a lock. You can't do it. Tony Weeks is a boxing referee turned judge. And Tony Weeks, for the very first time in his life, was evaluating an MMA fight. And when he saw Robert Valentine versus Torres Finney, he saw one guy in Torres Finney who landed 17 strikes in 15 minutes. That's what he saw. You landed 17 strikes in 15 minutes. That's literally one a minute. What are we doing? And Robert Valentine landed 93 strikes. So what did he do? He gave the fight to Robert Valentine 30-27. He gave him every single round. Guys, this is the greatest tragedy of all judging I've ever seen. I've never seen a worse judge in my life. There is no way in the world you can give Robert Valentine 30-27, even if he landed more strikes. There just isn't. There was 13 minutes of control time. There was 8 takedowns versus 0 and 16 seconds. Like, it's nuts, man. You'll get robbed messing with judges. You need to be careful with that, MVPs. Pick and choose your spots is what I would say if you want to be profitable in the UFC. Don't try to get a whole card right. It's the hardest part for me, right? I have to pick every single fight, and I have to speak confidently about every matchup. And some of you MVPs watch the content, and you go, oh, yeah, Rico knows. No, I don't know. I get a full fight card right twice a year. I'll go 11-1, 12-0, 10-2, whatever it is, right? Most of the year I'll get it like that, but I won't get it right. And if you're parlaying everything, you're wrong. So what I try to do is I try to identify 3 or 4 fights on the card that I'm so sure of are going to turn out a certain way. And if I'm wrong on any of them, we're in trouble, right? On any one of the 3 or 4 fights that I pick. What I'm going to tell you, though, is you have every right to pick and choose your 3 or 4 fights that you believe in and pace yourself accordingly. Like, you have every right to go, yo, I believe in that one, I don't believe in that one. This was a fight I really believed in. I thought Torres Finney can't lose this fight. But you got to be careful. These judges, they will take away not only the win from the fighter, but they'll take it away from you. And that's a terrible feeling. So, moving forward, Robert Valentine, just not a good fighter. I don't think he's a UFC caliber fighter. I really don't. Jiu-jitsu guy, but I didn't see nothing from him. And then Torres Finney, you're going to have to take him to win the fight by points, maybe plus 3.5. We'll see who he gets paired up with next. But I would pair him up. If I'm the UFC, I want to get rid of this shit. This is terrible. This is terrible ratings. People don't want to see this. No one's going to pay for a Torres Finney main card pay-per-view. No, I will. I'm Rico Knows. I pay for everything. But casual fans, they're not interested in Torres Finney's undefeated record. They just see a guy who just goes out there and he's on the DL all day. It's gross. Next fight. There's no greater feeling than when you're right. Obviously, there's worse feelings when you're wrong, but I'm going to tell you that in this particular fight, Luis Gurule, undefeated, minus 300 favorite before the fight, fighting Ode Osborne, a known quitter, a guy who just doesn't quite get it done, plus 240 underdog. But I told you guys that when I was assessing these fighters before the fight, I got a guy in Ode Osborne on a 3-fight losing streak. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about that. I feel like Ode Osborne's fighting better fighters. This is the 11th fight in the UFC, and there's levels to this. And when I watched Gurule, I watched him in the Contender Series fight. He came out 5'5", short arms, tough guy, talks a tough game, very confident, says he's a future champ and all this shit. And I watched him in that Contender Series fight. And if you're in Dana White Contender Series, you should be winning drastically. You should be knocking somebody out, getting a finish, a 30-26, something like that. It was a split decision victory for him. Split decision from a guy over a guy who's not in the UFC. So right then and there, I'm just like, this undefeated record just doesn't matter to me. And every capper on the internet was just so convinced that Gurule is going to go out there and do this. And then I go watch Ode Osborne again, and I'm like, did you guys not see him flatline Lazy Boy? Flatline Lazy Boy in the Sphere in September 14th to be exact. And it just bad luck that after that he got outdogged. But the dude is crisp. I said his strikes are straight. They're longer. I like Ode Osborne decision no bet. I like Ode Osborne TKO. I like Ode Osborne plus 240. And I'm not playing with you. I put it on the fight card. And we got it right. And it feels good to take a fighter who's lost 3 fights in a row against an undefeated guy. And I have to pick and choose who's going to win. And I cannot let other people's assessment of the 2 fighters impact me. Like if I looked on the internet, and I look on the internet, guys. I do a lot of research. I don't just watch the fights. I watch the fights, and then I go listen to everybody else talk about them in case I miss something. And if you ever watch me on TikTok Live, you'll know I do this. I do this research in front of everybody. Very transparent. I don't have to hide nothing. I'm showing you. It just takes hours for each fight video, each assessment. And as I'm sitting there and I'm watching them, I listen to what everybody's saying, and I'm like, do they not watch Gurulé? Like, I don't think any of these guys have watched Gurulé, because they were talking about him like he's some world beater. I just didn't see it. I'm just clean slate, man. No, I got no beef with anybody. I'm just watching fighters. I know that guy ain't it. He's 5'5" with T-Rex arms. Motherfucker's an alligator. What are we doing? Shout out to Ode Osborne. Won by TKO. It felt good. In the future, we got to remember Ode Osborne is very limited in his ability to grapple. Ode Osborne did not get back up in the first round. There was some top pressure from little Gurulé, but he didn't get back up when he needed to, so that's a problem. But Gurulé, I think he's just... Let me tell you guys something. You ever hire somebody... I don't know if this ever happened to you, but you ever hire somebody? They start working for you, they do a decent job, and then they're like, hey, I got a friend who needs a job. Hey, I got a friend who needs a job. I've seen this 100 times. And in the regular walk of life, somebody starts vouching for a friend of theirs. Like, oh, I got a friend who needs it. And then you hire the friend, and the friend has no work ethic. There's a reason that friend needed a job. That friend is late all the time, poor work performance, not as productive. And you're looking, you're like, man, I can't be. And you know what I would do? I would sit down with that guy, and I'd be like, hey, you need to stop vouching for your friends. You need to stop this. You know, I had a kid brother, and he needed a job. And I know I could have called my first employer. I could have called this guy. And I know I could have said, hey, man, I got a brother. He needs a job. You mind hiring? But I wasn't going to do it because I couldn't trust his work ethic. I couldn't trust his performance. I couldn't trust anything. In the UFC... So I wasn't going to ruin my credibility. In the UFC, this happens all the time. They go to a gym. Brandon Royval is a UFC caliber elite fighter. And then he wins. And he's like, hey, Dana White, Hunter, hey, man, I got guys in my gym. They belong in here. And that's where they're finding all these fighters. Is they're associated with a champion. Who does he train with? Oh, he's in the gym, man. He trains with someone. Oh, I got to hear it. Every English fighter that we are looking at that comes across the pond trains with Lerone Murphy. All right? That's all you ever hear. Oh, he trains with this heavyweight. Oh, he trains with this guy. They're always name dropping some famous guy they train. They don't understand. All they're telling us is that they're hiring somebody else from the same gym. The guy got in the damn league, in the fight game, off of a buddy's recommendation. You're not really looking for fighters. The UFC is not searching for the best fighters in the world. Dana White Contender Series, those are not the best fighters in the world. Those are fighters in the same gym as other great fighters in the world. I'm telling you, that's all it is. Hey, where do you train? Oh, I'm at MMA Labs. Oh, the MMA Labs. You know who's there? They start naming all the fighters. You're like, okay, comes out of Fortis MMA. It's like, okay. But where's the guys that are just ass kickers? Where's the dudes that are ass kickers out of some small gym somewhere and you don't know who the hell they are? That's the guy we're looking for. So when I look at Luis Gurulé, the only reason he's even in the UFC is because he trains with Brandon Royval, because he's at that gym. And that's all they ever talk about. They interview them. They interview his fight like, oh yeah, he's in the gym every day, winning every... What are you going to say? Well, I work out with him every day. He ain't shit. That's not what they say. They're always trying to vouch for a friend. And in this particular case, Luis Gurulé lied on his job application. They tell me he's a world-class wrestler. So they tell me. He wrestled twice. He wrestled in college, Division II. And then he transferred to Colorado School of Mines for his final year. I went and did research. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy how they brag about shit when none of it's real. It's just not. Don't believe in Luis Gurulé. Limitations. I've seen him fight twice now. One was split decision victory, and he got knocked out. He could easily be 0-2 in the last two fights. Fighting non-ass kicker. He fought a guy who's not even in the UFC. He could have lost that fight. And then this one, he definitely lost and got knocked out by a guy who's just a run-of-the-mill UFC guy. Nah. This dude's not real. Don't forget it. Vegas loves his odds. Get ready to fade him every chance you get. Real talk. Oh, speaking of fade, every chance you get. Brad Tavares and Gerald Meerschaert in the co-main event. Was this the co-main event? Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. My bad. It was just on the fight card. Just two 37-year-olds going out there to fight. So what happened? Brad Tavares looks like black don't crack. Brad Tavares didn't look 37. Brad Tavares looked 27. He looked crisp, beautiful, striking. Everything was there. Oh, why did he look like that? Because he was fighting a senior citizen. Some people wear 37 better than others. You know, if you look at somebody in the 80s, have you looked at a 50-year-old from the 80s? Google 50-year-olds from the 80s. Just look at their pictures. Go look at, who is it? Blanche from Golden Girls. Is it Blanche? Blanche was like 55 years old when they filmed Golden Girls. If you go watch it. If you're watching episodes, she was like 55 years old when they recorded it. And then go look at pictures of Jennifer Lopez, Mariah Carey, and Jennifer Aniston. Yeah. Go look at those women. And you look at them 80s, and you're like, what happened? Why do women from the 80s who are 50 years old look so old? Right? I can remember when I was a kid, my earliest memories of my grandparents on my stepmother's side, my grandfather and my grandmother, I have early memories of them. They used to watch Little House on the Prairie and The Price is Right. And they used to just be like they were these old couple. And we would go they lived in two different houses, by the way. We'd go visit them. And then they passed away. My grandmother recently passed away within the last couple years. And you read their obituary, and you read the obit, and you do the math, and you're like, hold up. Grandma and Grandpa were 43 when I met them? When I was 6 or 7 years old, they were only 43? What? They didn't look like me? They weren't in shape? They weren't fitness monsters? You get what I'm saying? What happened? I did a 6-mile hike, run hike on a trail yesterday. My grandfather wasn't doing that shit. They were moving at a different drum. They were just barely moving. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. We stopped doing secondhand smoke. We stopped growing up in lead paint houses. We stopped growing up around asbestos. I bring all that up because Gerald Meerschaert is from 1979, bro. This guy looks old as shit. And I say from 79 like he looked. There's two 37-year-olds in the cage. One is beautiful, pristine, and ready to handle it. And the other one, it looks like he smokes a pack of Marlboros and needs to retire. It's wild to me, man. I assess things differently from other people. I'm watching these guys going, yo, there's astronomical mile in speed between these two. And neither one of them put the gloves down. One of them should put the gloves down. One of them's on his way to be the greatest, I guess, the greatest ever in the middleweights. As far as most minutes fought or most wins or some shit. I don't know. Brad Tavares is going to fight again. And they're going to give him a favorable matchup because they don't want to get him hurt. Brad Tavares will not go to the deep end. He should have won this fight by a knockout. He was so vicious. And Gerald Meerschaert is a wounded gazelle. He's done, bro. He needs to be taken out to the pasture. He needs to be turned into glue. If you don't know that reference, I can't help you. But Gerald Meerschaert is not the guy. And I said, yo, we're going to take him. He's got a chance. We'll take him by submission. And every time we fade him, we end up losing. But bro is 0 for 8 in takedown. He couldn't get a takedown to save his life. Don't believe any of that 4 minutes of control time. We're up against the fence doing nothing. Nah, T-Rash. Hot garbage. That's fancy garbage. Gerald Meerschaert. Can't believe in him. And if Vegas is going to keep respecting him with odds like this, you got to fade him hard, man. You got to fade him hard and really believe in whoever he's fighting. You just have to. This is crazy. It did not look like a minus 170 versus plus 140 in here. It looked like a hapless dude who had no chance of winning against a dude who just was crisp and getting it done. Shout out to me. Oh, speaking of hapless dude with no chance of winning. Oh, man, I told you guys, I hope you watched the video on this. Rico, but you didn't make it a lock because the odds were good enough to just bet it straight across, man. Locks are just fights that have to be parlayed. Cortavius Romeus versus Chang Ho Lee. Shit. Chang Ho Lee says he's the Spanish Khabib. Says he's the Asian Khabib. That means he's just going to be the most dominant fighter there ever was. And if you watch the Torres Finney fight and you saw a guy who wrestles and doesn't train MMA and doesn't understand when to inflict damage and impose his will, Chang Ho Lee is the complete opposite. Chang Ho Lee is the most vicious fighter. And remember, I told you he beat a really good fighter in Zhao Long before this one. And it's just one of these situations where when you watch Chang Ho Lee, I understand he's Asian. I understand there's concern about his chin because he's Asian. But one thing Asians are known for is their intellect, their intelligence, their commitment to mathematics, right? This dude's in there. He's a mathematician, bro. He's measured it all out. This dude is a beast. Minus 175 favorite was disrespectful to him. I think the next time we see him in the cage, he's going to be a minus 200. Now, he might not be, only because they're going to be giving him better competition. And at bantamweight, there's some really good competition. As a matter of fact, I need you guys to understand that the way UFC pairs fighters up is you actually fight somebody with an equivalent amount of rest. So he's probably going to get paired up with a bantamweight on this card. So as you go through this and you start looking for bantamweights in the future, you're looking at a Victor Henry, a Pedro Falco. Okay? That's how that works. So if you go within like 2 weeks of this card. So a card last week, a card next week, go 2 weeks in each direction, and he's going to get paired up with a bantamweight from there. It's not like he's a championship caliber fighter and they're spreading out their fights for 6 months and you're going to go fight another guy and you're going to wait patiently for your opportunity. No. He's still trying to fight up the ranks. So just pay attention to the bantamweights on this card, last week or the week before, and then next week and the week after. Somewhere in that 5-week range, 4 or 5 week range, Chang Ho Lee is going to get another one of those guys. And I like his chances, man. What a fucking monster. Great wrestling, vicious striking, ground and pound. And I hate to say this to people, but I'm just keeping it real. He reminded me of myself. Let me explain this to you guys. Whenever I'm analyzing the fights, and you're watching it with me on the Discord server, and I'm talking to all the MVPs will be shocked when I'm talking about the fighters, and I go, oh, he's going to push this down, do this, do this, do this. And I see it, and it's going to happen, and I call it out. What I'm really calling out is what an experienced grappler, striker, MMA fighter would do in that situation. What I'm really calling out is what I would do in that situation. And then when they don't do it, you guys see me, I lose my mind. I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't know how to fight. Oh my God, what is he doing? Oh no. But in this particular case, when I watch Chang Ho Lee, he does literally everything that I would do. Which means he has an extremely high fight IQ. He knows what he's doing. He has clarity in his decision making. And he's mean about it. I remember I'm watching the Finney fight. And I go, you guys see this position right here? Finney should put his knee on that man's jaw. He should put his knee on his face. Just to inflict pain. And he's not doing it. He put his knee to the side of his head. Just to be friendly. Because he's used to sparring with partners that he respects. He's used to sparring with friends, and you don't put a knee on your friend's face when you're in sparring, when you're in training. I do, but you don't. You respect that guy. You want to be nice to that guy. So Finney does that, gets in the cage, and keeps doing that. Oh, when we're in training, we go open hand to the face, closed fist to the body. We don't want to hit anybody with a closed fist in the face. Well, what are we doing in the fight? We train like we fight. Why are we going open hand to the face, close fist to the body? I'm giving you guys these unwritten gym rules that you put in so nobody gets hurt and we can train again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. That's not how it works in MMA, man. We can't have these rules. Not only does Chang Ho Lee know when to inflict pain, he's just really good. His cardio is on point. He don't get tired. He never get tired. Who's that? Gates? Kevin Gates? He got a song like that? I don't get tired, right? Chang Ho Lee is the Kevin Gates of fighting, bro. He don't get tired. I just love the way he fights. Love everything he does. And I'm going to be a fan of his moving forward. And this is, you know me, I don't praise Asian fighters loosely, lightly. I don't praise him. This guy, I praise the hell out of this guy. Now, let's go talk about this Cortavius Romeus dude. Cortavius Romeus, he reminds me of a guy who's not academically eligible to play football. Like in high school. You need to have a 2.0 GPA, and he just doesn't have it. So he can't play on the team, but he's going to tell you how good he was at the park. He's going to tell you how good he would be, it could be, if he just did his homework. Cortavius Romeus, absolutely terrible. I've seen him get flatlined on Dana White Contender Series. Flatlined, knocked out, first round. I've seen him fight with zero fight IQ. Zero fight IQ. He does the dumbest shit I've ever seen. He did it all that whole fight. He kept trying to jump on his back, got thrown over the top. He gave up top position for an arm bar. Position before submission is a fundamental of fighting, but you just cannot give up your dominant body position to try to get an arm bar. That's stupid. Because if you don't get it, you're now on bottom and you're getting beat up, and your face is going to look like sausage, which is exactly what Romeus looked like. It was a bloody mess. That dude can't walk in public today. No, he's at home right now with a pair of shades on, saying, oh, man, I almost had him. You know, he's an idiot. And the whole analogy about he reminds me of a football player who can't be academically eligible has nothing to do with his intellect level. It has more to do with your commitment to excellence or lack thereof. Cortavius Romeus is not a professional. He showed up 3.5 pounds overweight. And at 135 pounds, 3.5 pounds is a significant amount of weight for your body weight, percentage-wise. A heavyweight 3.5 pounds overweight, totally different from a guy 135 pounds overweight. 138 and a half, whatever he showed up for. I find it very unprofessional. I hope the UFC cuts him. And if they don't, while the Vegas odds makers like this kid's, I guess, grappling acumen, no chance in hell. No. He ain't got it. Those odds were disrespectful. He ain't like it. He ain't like that at all. He looks like he's got muscles, he's got tattoos, and he works out, and yeah, man, I used to play, I used to ball. You get guys like this on the basketball court all the time. They'll be like, yeah, I play, I ball, yeah, I got nets, let me run with you. I'm like, all right. And he's off on the side, and he's dribbling like crazy, and he's got it. And then you get in the game, and you're like, oh, that shit is gross. That dude's not an athlete. He can't run up and down the court. He can't shoot to save his life. He's just terrible. He's a liability. That's Romeus. He can't fight at all. Don't ever believe that guy. That guy deserves zero coins of yours. Zero. Go to a wishing well. Throw some money in there before you put any money on Cortavius Romeus. Speaking of never putting money on anybody, so obviously I'll pull up the fight card. We lost last night. Every parlay. There's green all over the place. There's green. If you know how to pick and choose it. If you're an MVP and you're making decisions for yourself, congratulations. We had some MVPs take Pat Sabatini. They did. I didn't. And I was wrong. And I think the worst part is I preach diversifying your bets. I preach just being smart. And then I do that. And then I create that chart right there where I don't diversify any of these parlays. They all say Brito, Brito, Brito. We have a single point of failure for the whole night. And the single point of failure for the second time in a row is Brito. Now, I bring this up because if you actually study Joe Anderson, Brito, as they say, Brito, if you actually study his results and you start paying attention to what this guy is, he's the biggest fraud in UFC. And it's unfortunate. So if I can explain it to you guys, I will. He has a win over Diego Lopes on the Contender Series. That's what his claim to fame is. He knocked out Andre Touchy-Feely. But a knockout over Weston Wilson is the worst thing that could have ever happened because we now believe he's a good fighter. Weston Wilson is one of the worst fighters of all time. Like, Weston Wilson is not a really good fighter. Weston Wilson is not a UFC caliber fighter. But he's got nine losses. Dude barely won recently against Sergey, who just sucks. Okay? This right here, it's so bad, man. That Joe Anderson Brito beating that Weston Wilson, beating Jack Shore by TKO, we started thinking this guy's a real fighter. And he's not. He's not a real fighter. I watched him, these shoot boxing dudes, man. He laid flat on his back. Michael Bisping said something very important about it. But he laid flat on his back. And if you know anything about grappling, or at least jiu-jitsu, if you're on your back, you've lost. You need to be on your side. You need to be able to sweep. You can only sweep from your side. Sweep or submit is what we do when we're on bottom. Someone's in our guard. We either sweep or submit. So you can sweep them, whether that be an elevator sweep, butterflies. You can do a bunch of different sweeps. Or you can submit them. Triangle, armbar, pretty much it. Kimura, some of these moves. All right, cool. Listen to me, guys. Joe Anderson Brito is getting so much respect as a striker and a fighter, and I bit into the hype hard. And I went back and watched the highlights, and he looked vicious, and he did it. But the second fight in a row, he has done nothing, and he's cost us our money. Now, William Gomez isn't even in, I don't think he's in the UFC anymore. I think they cut him, and he lost by split decision last time we saw him. And then they give you Pat Sabatini. He's a layup for you. He's a layup for you, Brito. All you got to do is go hit him. And you constantly get taken down, and you pull the dumbest shit I've ever seen. The dude tried to do a guillotine. You guys, guillotine is a blood choke. You shoot your arm down. You get your bicep against one carotid artery. You bring it around. You pull up. This is your guillotine. His head's in here. It's your guillotine. And this wrist, you push on it. And this wrist goes to the other carotid artery. Blood choke. Hip in. Lean back. You're cutting off his neck. Guillotine, separating it. You don't do that shit and end up on bottom. You don't do it. The defense for a guillotine is you get your head opposite. You get your body opposite of your head. So if your head's caught in here, your legs can't be on that side of the body. You just jump over your opponent. Slap his knee. You just end up opposite, perpendicular. And if you're opposite, doesn't matter how tight he squeezes, it's now an air choke and not a blood choke. And now that arm is caught over the head, and you don't try to free it. You just keep it trapped there. Now you can do a Von Flute choke, which is a shoulder choke. Pat Sabatini knows this. Brito just stays there like that for fucking 5 minutes. It's the fight IQ of a gnat, bro. It's the fight IQ of a gnat. I would never. I don't know what to do, and I feel terrible about the miss, but this isn't about the gambling here. This is about the results of the fighters. So let me just talk about the fighters themselves. Joe Anderson Brito gets a lot of respect from Vegas because of his knockout capabilities, and you see it there. He's a minus 210 favorite. Joe Anderson Brito sucks, man. He sucks because Pat Sabatini can't do anything, and Pat Sabatini lands 135 strikes on you. Because he's just on top of you. Just controlling you. And now Pat Sabatini has a path to victory that many people aren't going to like. But it's the same shit the Russians are doing. It's the same shit every crotch sniffer is doing out there. And at featherweight, the threat for knockout isn't as relevant as it is at other weight classes. These guys are so small and lightweight that you're just not going to get knocked out. So if you're not going to get knocked out, we can go in there. We can go right through the fire and go get a takedown. And that's exactly what Pat Sabatini did. Pat Sabatini is very top heavy. His torso is just, he's like a block, shaped like SpongeBob SquarePants. And it's hard to deal with. Moving forward, got to see who Pat Sabatini gets paired up with. We just got to remind ourselves that Pat Sabatini has fought 25 times. And he's only lost 5 times. So he cares about his win-loss record. He respects it. And he's not going to just go out there and lose randomly. That's number 1. Number 2, if he's on top of you and he's got you down, you're not getting up. At least that's what I saw. Joanderson Brito, he's a tough guy in a prison somewhere. He looks like one of them tough guys who just got out of prison. But he ain't real. Nah, man, you can't fight for that whole fight. He was yelling at his corner. During the fight, there's dysfunction on that team. He was yelling at his corner while on the ground. Like his corner was saying, get up, you got to try this. And he yelled back like, I'm trying. I can't get up. I'm trying. Something like that. How the fuck are you going to be yelling back at your corner during a fight? That's dysfunctional. That's toxic. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're doing. You should be focused on fighting. You don't be yelling back at your corner during a fight. I've never seen that shit in my life. So, yeah, I'm out on that, and it sucks, man. It ruined the whole night because I made a mistake. All right, main event: Lerone Murphy versus Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett is going to keep getting main event fights, and if you think Josh Emmett belongs in main events, you're wrong. He doesn't. Josh Emmett has knockout power, so they say, and all I can tell you guys is Josh Emmett in 25 minutes landed 44 strikes. That's probably more of a credit to Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy is just so great at, he's defensively responsible. He has great octagon control and spacing and movement. I love everything he's doing there. But my goodness, is he great. Like, he got taken down 4 times, got up every single time. Didn't accept it. You're not taking me down. I'm getting up because I'm more athletic, fundamentally sound. I'm going to do my thing. But Josh Emmett, anybody thinking Josh Emmett's winning a fight, let me explain something to you. If he's fighting in a main event, it's 5 rounds. Your only chance of winning that fight, if you're Josh Emmett, is in the first 2 rounds. After that, he has no more knockout power. The 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Even if he lands flush, nobody's going to sleep. So we're not going to be able to back Josh Emmett. Another thing about Josh Emmett is they're only giving him big-name fighters. All because he once fought some really high-ranking guys. So once you are the main card, really high-ranking guys, it doesn't even matter if you lose. They're just going to keep putting your name on the poster. And they're going to keep you in the main event or co-main event for the next 3. Ask Holly Holm. They're going to keep you in that shit forever. And Josh Emmett is Holly Holm. He's got 4 knockouts in his entire UFC career. I'm not talking about the prelims. I'm just talking about in the UFC, he's knocked out 4 people. And now he has this, I don't know, he's got like this reputation as a knockout artist. He's only done it 4 times. He's like 40 years old. He's done it 4 times in his life. And he's only done it once in the last 5 years. But every time you hear somebody talk about him in the cage, they're like, well, he's got a chance to knock somebody out. Oh, man, he's going to win by knockout. Oh, man, he's a knockout artist. He's done it once in 5 fucking years, man. I ran a half marathon once in 5 years. Oh, Rico might win. He might run another half marathon next year. No, I won't. Josh Emmett, you can't bet on that guy. You just can't. And Lerone Murphy, they tell me he's ranked 10th in the world. There's not 10 guys better than him on the planet Earth. He's impossible to hit, man. He's slick, moves, does everything right, very athletic. He's not there to knock you out. He's there to win by points. By the way, MVPs, I told you, he's going to win by points. It was a plus 100. You could have took all the money you lost on the night, on the Brito fight, took all the money you lost, and you could have just threw it all on and said, yo, how much did I lose tonight? Oh, I lost 4 units. Okay. Well, let's put 4 units on Lerone Murphy. You would have won it all back. You would have doubled it. It was a plus 100 bet. And we were right. But some MVPs are better than others. You didn't have the courage to do it. You didn't chase. You can be mad about things, but it was there for you. The prediction was there on the chart for you at a plus 100 in the main event to make up for all your losses on the night. Your strategy is yours. How you carry yourself is yours. But the play is on the card. There's a plus 100 in the main event. Have the courage, have the heart to go make that bet. That's all I can say. Because Lerone Murphy respects your coin. He knows how to do it. So, it's tough sometimes. I hate missing. Trust me, I didn't sleep well. I hate it. I'm not upset with Brito. I'm upset with myself. Because that Brito dude is fake as fuck. You can't get upset at people who let you down. Can't get upset at people who let you down. Get upset at yourself for trusting them. People who let you down, that's who they are. You just dust off and keep it moving. That's life. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I hope you learned something about the fighters. Peace.